Hi, everybody. I'm back. It's your host, Kelly Dinning. I'm back and talking about a fun little topic that I'm sure a lot of people feel. It is called the beauty and confidence crisis. It's a topic that you go through this beauty confidence crisis when you are pregnant and when you're postpartum. And I think through many times in your life, you kind of go through this crisis within of I feel beautiful and confident in this current state. And then now everything is different. Everything is changing. And how do I adapt? And you kind of go through this crisis of rebuilding your confidence and rebuilding yourself in your new state, your new evolution, your new growth as people change throughout their whole life. And something like pregnancy is a massive change to your body, your mind, your life, and the aftermath. I mean, if you're a mother, you know, the aftermath is a mega change to your lifestyle and the things that maybe you had time to do to take care of yourself and to feel beautiful in the past. So I jumped into this episode because I am currently about 3 and a bit months postpartum with my little one, hence the very large gap in these episodes. She's finally now going down and sleeping for a little bit at nighttime. So I'm back in the home studio with you recording tonight. How exciting. So to jump right into some information, See, that's the beauty of a home studio. You can hear my husband coughing in the background because he's in the other room. That's okay. All right. The women'shealth.government, which is the Office on Women's Health, so they say they are the Office on Women's Health, talk about the body image issues with women in pregnancy. And so I'm going to kind of go quote by quote here, where it says body image issues before, if you had them, will likely be, from their studies, worse when you're pregnant. And you will create likely some new ones because you're going to have weight gain. You have hormonal changes. You have, this larger stomach and larger breasts, and you might be getting stretch marks, or if you've already had stretch marks, they are growing a little bit bigger, a little bit deeper, a little bit more visible. If they were pre-existing, you're going to likely have a little dance with acne while you're also pregnant. And you're going to be more tired, and then therefore with the hormones, you're susceptible to mood swings, which leads into, these negative moods and cascading into a more unhealthy and negative thought process on your body. So I wanted to talk about this because it's something not a lot of people talk about when you are pregnant and postpartum, and it's not really something you can talk to your partner about and be like, I just don't really feel beautiful, and you get the whole, of course, you're beautiful and you look the same and all this stuff, but you feel completely different. And you are going through this completely different experience as a woman, going from this body that you had to now kind of a shared body with being a mother, especially if you're breastfeeding. I mean, you feel like you don't even own your body. You are a little milk bank walking around. So that's why I wanted to bring this up into an episode, because that stuff is not really talked about in all of these thoughts that are going on in your head. And you can talk to other moms and they get it and they completely empathize with you and go, oh, I've been there, I've done that, or I'm in it and I'm feeling it. And, what the heck happened to my confidence? I'm in this, crisis of self, how I would like to put it. So with this, I always like to talk about the reality and the negatives, and then bring up the positives and the things that we can do to manage that, handle that. So the women'shealth.gov actually said after their study that they went through and they put forward a whole bunch of remedies, per se, for women, to love and accept your body. Easier said than done, but the way that they say to love and accept this changing body and to kind of build back this confidence is to educate yourself. Because the thing that can be scary and make you feel out of control is not being educated on something, because something is happening as a surprise and you're going, holy smokes, like I did not expect that to happen. And now here I am, I've got stretch marks. Boom, I had no idea. Well, maybe that's something that if you knew that is a possibility going into pregnancy, it's not as stressful. It doesn't create as much of a crisis. It kind of helps you ride that wave of emotions a little bit better because you've educated yourself. So I totally agree with what they've said and how to manage it. And the best way to manage this little bit of a roller coaster in this beauty confidence crisis is to educate yourself and kind of know what to expect going in. Now, I want to say a couple of things personally in this episode about beauty and confidence. I feel like after pregnancy, and I've heard this from a lot of other moms, that you feel way more confident with way less. And that's a two-part answer, because with less, meaning you have less time for yourself. Those, wonderful self-care nights, or going to a spa, or going and getting certain appointments done that take an hour or 2 hours or 3 hours, like those are done when you've had a kid. And especially in the early years, maybe that comes back. I mean, I'm still waiting, but apparently in those early days, you can't leave the house for more than 45 minutes before everything kind of hits the fan. And anyways, getting back to what I was saying is you become more confident with less. So I feel like I have become more self-aware of the certain characteristics about myself that make me feel beautiful. And it's not, the trending color of hair that is going around that I got, or the certain clothing that I'm wearing, or the nail color that is in right now for the season. That stuff to me, I mean, that's a bad example because that never really mattered, but that stuff doesn't even hit a relevance note in my mind right now. Being a mother of 3 that are 3 and under, like the time that I have is to look in the mirror and see myself with like zero makeup on and feel so much more confident than I ever felt with, an hour of getting ready in the morning before going to work, that kind of a thing. Just having that time of going, I've had time to brush my teeth, huge win. I drank a ton of water yesterday, which was good for my body, and I feel better, amazing. Like the confidence that comes from beauty comes from a different side of beauty, if that makes sense. And this is a bit of a ramble, but if you know, it's kind of, you become more confident with less. And it's an exciting journey because I finally get it. I remember being in university and you'd see, like a young mom somewhere, or just a mom at a grocery store, and she would be like, just living her raw life, like being the Pamela Anderson that Pamela Anderson is now, without that being an in thing to do. Being like, oh, you left the house without like putting on a drop of makeup and you didn't do your hair. That is usually seen in our society as like, you don't care about how you look and you aren't putting in any effort. But now in retrospect, I look at that and it's like, you are just confident and you're focusing on what matters. And you have the confidence to not care what people think and go out there and do it. And now you have someone like a Pamela Anderson that is a proponent of like natural beauty and making you feel better in your own skin and making that an accepted thing, not this like whole, there's no other way to say it, this whole like Kardashian style face that everyone is going to try to get and, caking on makeup to try to achieve. You don't need that to feel beautiful. You don't need that to look beautiful and to exude confidence. So that brings me into simplifying makeup routines, gives you a way better complexion. And this is something I learned through postpartum, where basically in the early days, like you just don't have time for any of that. You don't even care. You're not thinking about it. So you get that forced skincare break where it's like, oh, I haven't worn makeup in the last 3 weeks or a month because I've just been in my house and I've been dealing with, relearning my body, relearning this new life, learning this beautiful little human. And all I've had time to do is shower and provide nutrition to myself and to my baby, and that's it. So your skin gets this beautiful break from all of the makeups and all of the sprays and like the hairsprays, like all the stuff that can affect your complexion. And if you've been there, you can probably understand what I'm saying. If you look in the mirror and you're like, wow, my skin has never looked better. It just looks clear. It looks happy. It looks like it's had a break. It's had that rejuvenation that you would get from going to a spa every single week for months. So you get this simplified routine and it does yield a better complexion. And you can take the time of when you do have the time to put in a little bit more effort and put on some makeup, or you're wanting to do that, you turn it more into like a ritual and a practice for yourself in acceptance and appreciation for what your body has done. Like I take time to look at the scars that I have on my body from my C-section with my first, and to look at, I love to squeeze my tummy together and like look at all of those like little wrinkles that are there, being like, wow, like this skin stretched so much 3 times. And then it went back. Like the body is absolutely amazing and incredible. And I can't believe that it does those things. And anyways, you can look in the mirror and have these practices where you're appreciating all that your body has done and not trying to achieve a certain standard that is set for you. You get to set a new standard for yourself on how you're going to feel beautiful. And this is something that if you have daughters, like I don't have sons, so I can't really speak to this, but I have daughters and I look at them and they're like smiling ear to ear because they've just figured something out, or they're showing me this new little dance move or like a new handshake or whatever they're learning, and they're smiling ear to ear and they're like, they're so beautiful and they're so happy. And you think back to when you were a kid and you would wake up in the morning and your hair is all over the place and you put on whatever clothes you feel like are matching your energy for that day or whatever you saw in your Disney princess movie, and you are just exuding this pure joy and confidence because you're focusing on living, you are focusing on learning, you are focusing on experiencing all of your time on this planet. You are not hyper focusing on walking past a mirror thinking, oh, is my hair out of place? Does it look like I didn't do my eyeliner right this morning? Did I not, put myself together enough? Do my clothes match? Like you kind of get to pull that perspective from your kids of looking at them being like, thank you for teaching me again that it is so important to focus on the little things in life and the actual experience of life, other than just chasing an ideal for beauty, which really gets like hammered into you when you're in high school. And, you go through this first like beauty confidence crisis, I think, when you go through puberty for the first time as a girl, because your hormones are changing. You're going through like, a very small, compared to pregnancy, change. Well, maybe not small. You're going through a change that is on a different level than pregnancy, but you're also surrounded by a very judgmental group. You're surrounded by a lot of pressures as a kid. So you go through this beauty confidence crisis kind of, I think, in high school, and it molds you into a certain way of living that you don't have time to think about and reevaluate and sit with and go, is this right? Should I still be doing this? Until you're an older person and perhaps even a mother. Like for me, it kind of came into that time of then being a mother, looking back, being like, whoa, how did I get into this mindset where like what I was doing was never good enough and how I was looking was just never quite good enough. And this standard that I was trying to reach was impossible. And so I was constantly beating myself up about it. In this crisis kind of comes this like rebirth of like feeling so good about yourself with less and getting back into that like young childhood view. And if you have kids, if you have daughters, and maybe sons are the same, where you just get to experience that raw joy for living, which should be the focus. That should be the goal of how do I experience my best life, not how do I care what people think and how do I fit myself into a certain mold. It's a really unique experience, and I don't even know if I am articulating that correctly. And if I'm not, I'm going to blame my postpartum brain for that. But it's something that regardless of if you maybe went into this with a ton of confidence or you didn't and you're struggling with that right now, I hope that this can kind of give you a little bit of insight on you're not alone in doing this. You're not alone in thinking like this. And especially if you're in North America, it seems like the way we are molded, the way we are kind of taught to think, the way that we refocus on beauty and how that can actually take away from confidence, and how postpartum and being a mother is a total window to get that back. And I wouldn't even say it's an opportunity. It's kind of a forced happen. It's going to happen to you. And if you're aware of that and you kind of have the open mind, you have the idea that you're feeling this beauty confidence crisis, but this isn't new for you, it hopefully gives you a little bit of, extra pizzazz to get through it and go, yeah, you know what? Getting back to how I was rocking it and I'm rocking it now. And it's crazy that we live in a world that you have to go through such a mega change to get to that. But that's where I'm at. And so I'm just sharing that. And when I found that at womenshealth.government, I was like, wow, this is crazy. This is the Office on Women's Health. And they are talking about how this massive study produced all these people that are dealing with these negative effects and this negative mood on beauty and their perception of themselves, and that it's triggered through pregnancy, which is crazy to me. Okay, the next one is and I'm going to botch this, and I'm so sorry, but INSPQ, Institut National de Santé Publique du Québec. Publique du Québec. Eek. Anyways, they say that pregnancy attracts more attention, and this can heighten negative feelings. When someone comes by and they're like, hey, wow, you're looking big. If you are not a person that is a super extrovert, you'd like to keep to yourself, pregnancy does attract a lot of attention. So that can really heighten your negative feelings. Exactly what they said, where you're like, whoa, you know what? Like, please don't look at me. I've got pimples all over my face right now. And I'm trying to be low key and I'm trying to just do my thing and focus. And then you run into people and they're like, wow, look at this. You're so different, or you're massive, or you're glowing. And you're like, well, I know I'm only glowing because my weight has been significantly up and all this kind of stuff. So it also says that confidence is shaken with change. And, pregnancy is full tilt change. So when you're going through pregnancy, your confidence is at an all-time low because you are learning your body for the first time in this new changing experience. And I mean, second time pregnancies, third time pregnancies, they're all radically different, which I can't wrap my head around how 3 pregnancies can be so different for myself. Just different pregnancies where I think, I got this, I've been there, I've done that, bring it on. And it comes and I'm like, what is this? How is this the same thing? That rocks your confidence and rocks it in a negative. It drops because you're trying to figure things out. And that totally makes sense to me. It says that you should be choosing time to spend with yourself to establish this acceptance and change, to establish that, yes, I'm going to go through a whole bunch of change and I might not be aware of all of those changes right now, but accepting that there is going to be a lot of change in your life and in your body and in your feelings and your moods and everything. It basically presents yourself with a lot more confidence going into these areas of pregnancy, change, and postpartum. And I'm talking a lot about pregnancy here because I've just recently been in it, but postpartum as well. Because when you're postpartum, your life is changed. Your relationships are changed. Your relationship with yourself, the time that you have with yourself, is changed. So, this change doesn't just happen physically. It doesn't just manifest in pregnancy. It happens throughout and continues. And it's a good time to establish a lot of skills in your confidence and in yourself and in your ability to handle change going forward. So to not ramble on too much about that, I hope that those 2 sources helps you understand that you're not alone, that this stuff is very common, that if you're feeling certain ways, chances are there's probably a billion people out there that are feeling the same way or have felt the same way in their life, that change is inevitable. And when you are aware of it, when you educate yourself, when you know it's coming, it can be so empowering during this time of pregnancy, postpartum, and then for the rest of your life, for all of the other changes that you're going to go through, pregnancy, postpartum, and beyond. So I hope that you received some value from this episode. I hope that it kind of opened your eyes into some of the commonalities that we're kind of all sharing in different ways. I would ask that you reflect a little bit on your life, reflect a little bit on what has recently changed for you, And how did that actually affect you? Did you have a change, and did you let that negatively affect your life and your perception of yourself and your beauty and your confidence? Or were you able to turn that around? And if you haven't chosen a direction yet, I hope you take the latter. I hope you turn it around and project it towards more beauty and more confidence. And you're doing amazing. If you're a mom out there and you took the time to listen to a podcast, thank you for joining me today. Tonight. Thank you for joining me tonight. And I'm excited to be back and podcasting. This is something I really enjoy, and I really enjoy sharing. I really enjoy hearing back from listeners and seeing all the comments. And I'm excited to jump into the next episode in a little while. So go out there and have an awesome night and a fantastic day tomorrow. And I'll talk to you in the next episode.